In Ireland, in olden times, there were leprechauns, and there were fairies and other magical creatures, but there were also giants. And one of those giants was Finn McCool. Oh, Finn McCool was a mighty lad, and he was married to his beloved bride and wife, Unag. And it has been said that both had magical powers. Now, in Finn's case, he had his magical power from his finger that he would put in his mouth when he wanted to predict the future or gain special knowledge. And he was particularly aware of other giants in the kingdom, particularly a giant named Cuchulainn. Cuchulainn was a nasty brute, and Cuchulainn had said that he was going to pound down every giant in the entire nation. Now, one giant he had not been able to find was Finn McCool. But Cuchulainn loved to show his strength. In fact, he, at one point in time, reached up into the sky and pulled down a thunderbolt. And when he had it in his hand, he put it on the ground, stomped it flat, so flat it was like a giant pancake. And he put that bolt of thunder and lightning in his pocket to show whoever questioned his power how strong he really was. In addition to that, Cuchulainn, when he stomped his foot, the earth shook, and he stomped his foot whenever he was around others, just to show his power. Now, Finn, in the meantime, had always tried to avoid Cuchulainn because he knew he was a very, very strong giant. But we find Finn one day working with other giants down near the Scottish border, and with huge boulders building a bridge over Ireland to Scotland. One day, Finn put his finger in his mouth and said, "Laddies, I've got to go home." He had heard or learned something, and he dashed quickly to the edge of the forest, grabbed a huge pine tree, stripped all of the boughs from the tree, and used that as a pole, a marching pole, to get back to Knockmany and Knockmany Hill for his lovely bride. As he finally walked up the hill and knocked on the door so gently, his wife, Unag, said, "Oh, Finn, you're back. I didn't expect you. Oh, I just couldn't stand being away from you for so long." Now, Unag knew Finn very well, and Finn couldn't tell a fib to her. She knew something was up, and she said, "Finn, why are you really back here?" And Finn said, "Well, because I've learned that Cuchulainn is looking for me, and he's coming this way." "Really?" she said. When will he be here?" He said, "I found by my finger on my lips that he is coming tomorrow. He will be here at 2:00 in the afternoon, and I am very concerned about having him fight me, because I know how strong he is. You know, I've heard that story about the thunderbolt." Well, Unag says, "Let me think about this. I may be able to solve this problem." And she began to think and think, and she said, "I have it. Now, Finn, you're going to have to do exactly what I tell you." Now, Finn realized the powers that Unag had, and he trusted her and said, "Of course, my darling, what will you have me do?" And she said, "The first thing I want you to do is put on baby clothes. I've actually got some that I've been holding back." Finn said, "Baby clothes? They wouldn't fit me." "Well, maybe just a baby bonnet." And then what she did is break a hole in the floor, because it was a 2-story house, you understand. And once she broke that hole in, she told Finn to stand in the hole so only his head would be sticking out from the floor. Then she put a baby carriage on top of it, and then put a little baby bonnet on Finn's head. She said, "Now you stay here, and I'm going to prepare for Cuchulainn." The first thing she did was went into the cooking area and got a huge metal iron frying pan. And then she made 2 big bowls of dough for bread. And in one, she slipped the frying pan. In the other, she just left the bread together, and she put both loaves in the oven to cook. And the next thing she did was go outside, looking to the left, looking to the right, and finally found a really beautiful round white stone. She brought the stone inside, and then she went out to the barn where the cows were, grabbed a very, very large bucket of milk, and kneaded the milk and kneaded it until it turned into cheese. The cheese she rolled into a ball similar to the white rock, and she put them both in the cupboard. It wasn't long before she heard the thundering footsteps of Cuchulainn coming up the hill, and he knocked on the door and said, "Is Finn McCool here?" Well, she opened the door, and she said, "Who are you?" He said, "I am Cuchulainn, and I'm looking for Finn. Is he your husband?" She said, Yes. "Well, where is he?" "Well, he is actually out right now because he heard that you were looking for him, and he decided to go down the hill and look for you to find you for the fight of your life." Cuchulainn said, "He wouldn't dare fight me. I will tear him limb from limb." "Well," she said, "maybe so, but he's a very strong man." "Well, can I come in and wait?" Well, she said, "Of course, you're welcome to come in." And so she brought Cuchulainn into the kitchen. He said, "I am very hungry." She says, "Oh, that's good, because we were about to have food." She said, "I will start you with a loaf of this wonderful bread." And so she put the bread in a great big pot of butter on the table, along with a cup of grog. And Cuchulainn lifted up the bread, buttered the outside of it, and began to chomp on it. And he said, "What in the world is this bread? It is so hard that, look, I've lost 2 of my teeth just on this bread." She said, "Oh, really? No, this bread is what we eat all of the time. Finn and our baby both eat it." "Baby?" he said. "Yes." She says, "Our baby, of course, is here. And in fact, listen. Wah, wah, wah. Oh, my goodness, baby is hungry." She says, "Come in and see." And she brought the loaf of bread. And the baby, who was really Finn McCool, went, "Wah, wah." And she gave the bread to him, and he stuffed it into his mouth and ate it with one bite. Cuchulainn looked at that and couldn't believe his eyes. Why, if Finn's baby could eat what he couldn't eat, what would Finn be like? He began to worry. But then he said, baby would also like to have some of our fresh cheese. And so she brought out the ball of cheese and she gave it to baby. And baby, of course, just had his mouth open, like that. And the baby just chomped down that cheese. Then Cuchulainn said, I'll have some of that. And she said, oh, I have another. And she gave him the cheese, which was really a white rock. And he took a big bite, and again he lost 2 more of his teeth. Arrgh! Well, at this point in time, he was very, very concerned. He said, I'd like to check on the teeth of the baby just to see how strong they are. Now, I told you about the fact that Finn had magic in his finger that gave him knowledge and he could view the future. In Cuchulainn's case, his finger gave him his strength. And so Finn knew that. And as Cuchulainn put his hand way back deep into Finn's mouth to feel the teeth, and he said, Moo, those molars are very big for a baby. Finn waited, and then he took a big chomp, and he cut off Cuchulainn's finger of strength. Cuchulainn jumped back and said, my strength is gone. I've got to get out of here. Well, at that point in time, Finn burst his way out of the floor and he ran outside behind Cuchulainn. And he grabbed with his mighty arms and his mighty hands a huge chunk of earth with grass and small trees on it. And he lifted it up and he flew it right at Cuchulainn, knocking him flat and burying him under all of that earth. Actually, then he took the earth and Cuchulainn and he flung them both into the sea. And today, that huge piece of earth sitting in the middle of the sea is known as the Isle of Man. And that is the story of Finn McCool.